Hi, it's Dr. Denise with Microdose U. This is a special extra episode actually on microdosing, women's health, and specifically for the holiday time of year. I really appreciate the questions that we are getting here. Dr. Dave and I at Microdose U really want to be helpful. And the best way to do that is when we get your specific questions, we can kind of come up with topics, address issues, things we think are important. But when you all send in your questions, it really helps us target the podcast and know exactly what will be helpful to you. So I got a flurry of questions about the holidays, and they seem to follow a couple of topics. So I'm going to say a couple of things about that right now. And then I have just a handful of quick questions that I'll answer, and we'll see if that's helpful to you. So this is, it can be, often frequently is a difficult, challenging, exciting, depressing, fill in the blank time of year. It inevitably people will feel that they can't quite get things done, or there isn't enough to do, or they're lonely, or so many different variations of why it can be a very challenging time of year. You turn on the radio and the songs of, it's the most special time of the year, it's the best of all that. May not be the case. I never felt that. In fact, when I listen to the radio and the holiday songs, I usually end up kind of, turning on my Spotify playlist because, the songs don't really sort of seem to work for me. There are some that I love, mostly instrumental, but some of the messages that we tell ourselves, our own narrative, and then some that you might get from family or friends or yourself, or music on radio that you're listening to, can really set us up for just things not going well. And it's the bad news, but I always say it's also the very good news, because while we can't control anything outside of us, we can really decide how we're going to relate to things and what we're going to do with this inside of us. So this is where our own narrative, our own choices, and microdosing really does help, because it helps us rewire the narrative. It helps us rewire how things are going, the pathways literally in our brain, in our physiology, and then of course in our psychological, emotional function. So a really good example of that, I get a lot of questions about, how do I do this? I really feel like I have to do that. I'm going to disappoint people. And this is where I understand that people want to do things. I understand that there's family rituals or traditions and what's important to even you as an individual. And yet I always add, it is okay to disappoint other people. We don't always have to kind of meet exact expectations, whether they are our own or somebody else's. So, I always say, if it's not life or death, it shouldn't feel like it. So somebody being disappointed, while that may be tough, it might be tough for the person, especially if they give us a hard time about it. It's not a life and death situation. It's okay. In fact, I'll often say to someone who might be disappointed and tell me so, I'll say, instead of defending myself, I will say, I know that's disappointing. That didn't go the way you wanted it to. It didn't go that way this year. So it's really okay. And if we're constantly working to keep other people happy and not disappoint them, then we are disappointing ourselves. And we matter. We are one of the people. So it's really important to take care of our well-being and make sure that we're happy too. Otherwise, we're really just doing it. We're doing it wrong, and that's just not acceptable. And that reminds me kind of these ideas, this narrative that we have to do certain things a certain way. Oh, the holidays have always been this, or I don't want to see this one, but I have to. That we really can, and this is where microdosing is so important. We really can let go of, rewire, and create, let go of outdated patterns, outdated ways of thinking, outdated ways of being. It's okay for things to be different. And even if we don't know what we're going to do, setting the intention in microdosing that you will find your way, that you are letting go of outdated ways of doing things that are no longer aligned, and yet open to possibilities to see what will develop that will be healthier, more balanced, and aligned with your well-being. The other question that I get a lot is about, really like when everything's falling apart and everything, will the microdosing help me when things are really going terribly? And the overall answer is, of course, absolutely yes. The That doesn't mean that things are going to go smooth. I microdose, so now all the things that bother me won't bother me. I mean, everyone knows that there's a lot of work alongside microdosing, and that things can be going very well, and then all of a sudden things can be really not going well, and people will say, well, Dr. Moret, Dr. Dave, Dr. Denise, Dr. Dave, what's going on? I've been doing so well, and now all of a sudden I feel terrible. Microdosing is not working. Well, that's not true, actually. What happens is that microdosing will bring up areas that need to be healed. So I would recommend that, particularly during the holiday time and going into the new year and setting the intentions, to remember that any bumps, huge hurdles, really challenges, make a note of them. I'm not saying they're going to be pleasant, very derailing at times, perhaps. And yet that's like really the magic. That's where the healing is needed most. So make a note of those things as you set intentions for perhaps the holidays. You can say, may things go well. May I feel calm and at peace. And that areas of struggle are going to be where I'm going to focus and continue to rewire and heal, particularly as we go into the next year. So just a couple of quick little hints there about managing as you're going into, say, family gatherings and specific events that are really happening already. We're really right in the middle of it. So I know I answered some general questions. I wanted to just go through, let's see, I have, and again, we love the questions, so please keep them coming. Always check in the show notes. You know how to get in touch with us at Microdose U. We certainly have the Patreon channel and the live meetings that we have there in WhatsApp. And then, you can work directly with us on anything in particular. Just go to the website and you'll see it under coaching. Okay, quickly here, let's go through some of the questions. So Rachel writes, the holidays always seem to spike my anxiety, especially around family gatherings and expectations. Have you seen women use microdosing to stay more emotionally grounded during stressful holiday situations? Absolutely. Excellent question, Rachel. So, the real psychedelics overall are going to be helping you, not just in the moment, overall to, accomplish your goals and rewire. So even if it's an acute situation today, asking the psilocybin, the LSD, the psychedelics that you're doing to help you in that moment with whatever acute situation is going on. So you say, thanking the medicine for its ability to continue to keep you grounded, and were you to get derailed and feel some sort of spike in anxiety, that may you come back to center. So saying that, reminding yourself of that, even if you don't believe it, even if you don't know how, it's going to help you really keep doing that. And it tells your cells that you're going to do that. And it also tells the medicine that's exactly what you're working on. So again, nothing matters more than your wellness. And I say, if things are really just treacherous, take care of you. Step away. If you're in the middle of actually sitting there with family and, difficult situations happening, remove yourself, get up, walk outside, excuse yourself, pretend you have to walk the dog or go to the restroom or something. We don't have to sit there for it. So, and it is good to kind of maybe see, as I'm answering these questions, see it as it's happening. Imagine it happening. And then once you're in that situation, it's like you've practiced. It's like the fire drill. Ahead of time, you'll know then what to do. So imagery is extremely powerful. And then when you get into that situation, see yourself, okay, you don't have to feel the stress and anxiety, but see yourself, oh, I'm in that situation at so-and-so's gathering and anxiety hits. Okay, I see myself getting up and excusing myself. So the practice, mental rehearsal of that will absolutely help. Okay, next question from quietly sensitive. I feel completely drained by the holidays, the planning, the hosting, the emotional labor. I love that expression. Can microdosing help women protect their energy and set healthier boundaries without feeling guilty? Of course. And you set that intention when you're microdosing. You would say, every day, microdosing or not, but particularly when you take your medicine, something like, I'm protected and I have healthy boundaries, all is well. So continuing to set that intention continues to tell your physiology, your emotional, psychological, energetic function that is what's true. Even if it's not going that way exactly, that's the desired outcome. And the more we see the desired outcome, the more that it will actually help us. So it is really important. And, I already spoke about balancing you, because nothing matters more than our own wellness and health. It may sound selfish to some people, but in actuality, it's the most generous thing we can do, because if we're not taking care of ourselves and we're constantly meeting other people's needs and just running ourselves ragged, it is going to backfire. And that's not going to be good for anybody anyway. And so the nicest, most loving thing we can do for other people is take care of ourselves. And then we can show up in a healthy way. And that works better for you and everybody else. Okay, Melissa. Holidays bring up a lot of old family dynamics for me, and I find myself reverting to patterns I thought I'd outgrown. Can psilocybin help women respond differently instead of reacting the same way every year? This is exactly what psilocybin does. That's what the intention is. Help me set new patterns, new ways of behaving. I'm asking the medicine to continue to work with me to rewire. Now, we will revert sometimes to old patterns. And when that happens, a little helpful trick is to be able to say, well, that's not pleasant, obviously. And yet, if you recognize it as an old pattern, that's actually pretty positive. I don't mean to sound like a Pollyanna. It's not pleasant in the moment. And yet going, oh, that's an old pattern. I see that I did that again. Oh, I don't want that to happen. Okay. I'm glad that I have that perspective now. And that's what I'm going to continue to work on, because no matter how evolved we are, no matter how far along in our microdosing journey we are, any of us, Dr. Dave and I, any of us can have a moment of feeling and go and reverting back. That doesn't mean you've lost any ground in your microdosing and rewiring. It means that it's coming up for review. It's giving you that perspective. It's reminding you of how far you've come and continuing to work on those particular areas. So it's all about the new pathways, the new patterns, continuing to see those, as I've already said, and then continue, even if it doesn't go so well, saying, I will find my way. Okay. Next question from Finding Balance. I'm already dealing with perimenopause, and a lack of sleep, travel, and rich food around the holidays is absolutely going to make everything worse. Yes, it does. How can women think about microdosing as support without overdoing it during this time? So, balance, it's like the most important thing, grounding and balance. And so psilocybin, psychedelics, absolutely going to help us balance, stay well. And, if you go back to the original, the first in the series where I spoke about perimenopause and menopause, and that it's that kind of consistent microdosing. So here it is again. Unlike younger women who I kind of say, look at your cycle and where you want to sort of have a higher microdose or take a couple days off or lower. If you're in perimenopause, you want to be more consistent. because the body was really looking for some sort of regulatory pattern there that's going to be with the microdosing. So yes, in your microdosing, for perimenopause, it's very important that you continue to do these regular small microdoses and continue to thank the medicine for its ability to balance you and keep you grounded. Less is more, and that's not just the case in microdosing, we know, but in life. So I always say I don't want to have to give up something. So it's like if I want to have a nice piece of chocolate, I don't want to have so much that then I don't feel well, that I overindulge. So setting the intention that the medicine, the psilocybin psychedelics are going to continue to help you balance and know exactly where is enough, how to kind of adjust things to try our best to stay grounded and well. So psychedelics are very good at that. And we want to achieve that kind of sweet spot where we can enjoy and not pay a price. And, again, that takes some work and some, it's constant effort. So good goals and what you set intentions for now, you will notice if you continue to work and set those intentions and keep seeing those outcomes a year from now, when you're in the holidays at the end of 2026, you'll see how different it is because it just keeps getting better. Okay, last question here. The holidays are supposed to feel, this is from Tanya, the holidays are supposed to be joyful, but I feel lonely, disconnected, sad, and especially when everybody else seems to look so happy. Do you see microdosing helping women feel more grounded, present, and grounded and present during the season? Well, yes, absolutely, of course. Let's just look for a minute. That's a great question, Tanya, that there's this sort of narrative here about the supposed to. Holidays are supposed to feel joyful. And I get that. I understand that, there's a lot of celebratory things going on and everyone seems happy, right? Except that not everybody really is. And if everyone was happy, I wouldn't get these kinds of questions all the time. This is a very common question. So who are all these people that everyone is happy if there's a really large amount of people who are saying, I don't feel happy like everyone else? So, it's sort of like a little bit of that distortion in perspective there. And it's okay not to be happy. It's okay not to be joyful and allow whatever's going to be. Maybe someone's very lonely and they see no one and they do nothing and they kind of spend the day looking out the window and they decide to watch a movie or take a walk. And this can be the most joyful, quiet, peaceful kind of holiday time for somebody. So, just watch the sort of supposed to kind of narrative that we're getting an argument with ourselves. Oh, Dr. Denise, you're not happy. Or, I would talk to myself. I don't call myself Dr. Denise, but I say, Denise, you're not happy. You're supposed to be happy. Now, I don't do this anymore. But if I was, as an example, right away, I'm already having an argument with myself. How about, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not happy, and maybe that's okay. Now I'm not using my energy arguing and trying to be joyful when I'm not. And now who knows what's possible, because I'm not using that energy to make myself something I'm not. And then I can be what I am. I can feel what I'm feeling. And, I am often surprised that good things happen, even when we thought, oh, I'm miserable, I'm thinking this is terrible. When we stop fighting with ourselves to make ourselves feel a way, or, I'm supposed to be a certain way, what's wrong with me, when we can kind of put that to rest a bit, we might be surprised that something new comes in that's maybe a little bit different and feels grounded and pretty healthy. So, make room for that. Let go of the old narrative, and in some ways allowing things to be as they are. Like I said, unless it's like truly devastation, life and death situation, it's having to be happy and joyful at any time of life or year of the year, holiday time or not, it's just not that important. And I understand that sounds like I'm trivializing it, and I'm not. And yet trying to let go of that expectation, that battle within yourself or with others, will actually allow you to be a little more at peace, have your energy for whatever you are allowing then, and things will certainly potentially go better. And maybe you won't be in an argument with yourself, which will be a little bit more peaceful. So thanks for listening. And thanks, Dr. Dave, again for having me on. This is the Women's Health series that we have continued. I'll remind you to go back. I mean, at this point, it's about a month ago, the very first episode where we talk about, the microdosing and menopause and perimenopause, and even for younger women and timing microdosing based on where in your cycle and how that is. So I want to wish everyone a peaceful time. I will see you in the new year, and healthy and wellness and just being with yourself. Happy holiday to everyone.